Welcome to Prime Childcare Software Training. Today we're going to be going over adding employee information in Prime. To add employee information into Prime, go to the Employees module, click on Add to add an employee. You can click on Delete if you have a selected employee that you want to delete. We only recommend that you delete employees if they've been added in error. If the employee is no longer with you, you still want to retain the records for that employee, so just mark them inactive by unchecking the active checkbox and hitting save, and that'll save them in the system, but it'll take them off of the active list. So once you've clicked on add and added your employee record, go ahead and modify any of the information or add to the personal record. When you're done, click on save. In the medical tab, enter in the employee's medical information and click save. In the job tab, you can put in the details of the employee's position, their rate, whether they are hourly or yearly, whether they're paid hourly or yearly, their hire date once they are released. If they leave or you fire them, then you can put in a release date here. And if you have a probation period for new employees, then you can put in those days, and during that time it'll mark the employee as probationary. In the W-4 section, put in all the information from their W-4. It's pretty straightforward. For the schedule, put in the start and end times that they are scheduled for each day. In the PTO section, you're going to put if your employees get PTO, then you're going to put whether the accrual method for this employee is time employed or time worked. And then the accrual rate, you're going to put in the accrual rate field. A side note here, make sure when you do the accrual rate, it is based on how many hours of PTO the employee accrues per 40 hours worked. So when you calculate out the rate, do it that way and put it in this field. And then if you approve PTO during probation, then you can go ahead and check this box as well. Once you're done, click Save. Under certifications, you can add certifications to an employee, something like CPR certification. You put when they received it, when it's going to expire, and this expiration date will make this certification pop up on the overview screen once it is expired, or getting ready to expire, so that way you can keep employees on top of and current with certifications. Click on Update when you're done with this record, and then if you want to attach a file to this record, say like a scanned image of the CPR certification, then you can do that as well. When you want to delete a certification record, just select that record and then click on Delete, and that'll delete. For training, in the Training tab, you'll see at the top there's total hours required and total completed. The total hours required is what you can put, what you put in here. So if the employee is required to have 24 hours of training each year, and you put in 24, this will show for the year 2018, and then the total completed is added up as you add training records to the employee. It will total them from within here. So click on Update and then it totals them. The training completed records can be viewed by year or all of them. For notes, you can add a note record to the employee. Just like with students and sponsors, there is a type, and then you put in a description. You can upload a file to this note record, and then with comments is just where you would put a further explanation of this note. Like the sponsor notes, the employee notes are not published anywhere. They are internal only. For schedule, this is a visual representation of the employee's schedule. Since this employee didn't actually have a schedule, I didn't fill anything out, you don't see anything, but in here you can see The hours that the employee is scheduled for, Diana is scheduled for Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. As long as the employee is clocking in and out during those that approved time frame, the time worked will be in blue. It will be in red if the employee clocks in before or after their scheduled time, just as a visual display for you to know that this employee was clocked in or clocked out of their time. The clock times tab is the actual individual clock ins and clock outs. In this tab you can add a record, you can modify a record, or you can select one and delete it. The PTO tab will keep track of the employee's PTO. In this tab you can add records, so when they want to go on vacation for one day or take one day off and get paid for it, then you can put that. And then also, if you need to add PTO to the employee, then under that you click on add record and check this box to add more to PTO, and then you put however much PTO you're adding to that employee. It's approved, and you click on save and it updates the total. Just like with training, you can look at the PTO records by year, or you can look at all of them in one list. Based on the filter in here, whether you're looking at all or a specific year will change these hours, the total hours, the hours taken, and the hours available. In the Employee Security tab is where you'll set up their 4-digit PIN that they will use to clock in and out on the check-in app. And then if you use FastPass, barcodes, RFIDs, or a magnetic stripe reader, then you will see that information here in the FastPass section. We have a generate barcode button here, and what that does is generates a barcode that's specific to this employee. So if you want to just have the system create barcodes and then print those out on different media, you can do that from within here and click print and print it out. Also, like with students and sponsors, the employee at the top, you'll see the employee name and then the employee picture. You can change that picture by just clicking on change and choosing a different file, a different picture file. And if you don't want the picture that is displayed, then you can just click on remove and it'll remove that employee's picture. And that is adding employee information into Prime.